Hey guys, welcome to the channel. My name is Dale, and today we're going to do a walkthrough process on how to apply for your British citizenship using the online form. But just to let you know, I'm not a legal professional or immigration advisor, so I'm just doing a walkthrough process based off my experience that I did earlier during the year when I was applying for my citizenship. So let's begin here. Okay, so the first step, so head to this link here. I'll put it in the description below. So visas, immigration, service.gov.uk. So this is where you want to head up to apply for British citizenship by naturalization. So before applying, obviously, just check through the guidance here. There's three key things that you need here. So before you begin your application, ensure you can provide the following: a Life in the UK test certificate. So this must be in the form of the official government service for the Life in the UK tests. So this will be your reference number. 2 referees, and we'll get to that stage a bit later on in the video, and proof of your knowledge of the English language. So a key thing here is that if you're ever in doubt on any stage of the process or any documentation required, hit this link here for the form guidance at Form AN. So here you can navigate the guidance that's been set out by the Home Office. So you can navigate it. So here I'm on a Mac, so I'd use Control F. Let's say, yeah, it's linked up to referee there because I used that before. Yeah, so if I want to look up referee again, so do that. And then you can just scroll down to all your different requirements here. So when we get to the stage about determining who should be your referee, here, for example, you can always click back to and bookmark this if you want to just make 100% certain that you are following the guidance to the T. If you're in doubt about fees as well, the information's here as well. So once you're comfortable to begin, click apply now. Are you in the UK? Then you register your email. So once you register your email, just click what applies to you. So for me, this would be applying as the applicant. So this stage here, if you have an immigration advisor, say if you are applying through your employer, say if they're supporting you with your application, they've got a bespoke team, because a number of multinational companies might have that service. You can include this here, but oftentimes you can just do this on your own. So for my experience, I did this on my own, so I would have just said no. So once you're happy with the start questions, then you can continue to the application. Cool, so now we need to answer questions about this applicant. Are you completing the form for someone else? So if you're just completing for yourself, just click no. So just give your name and surname. If you have any names, click yes. If not, no. This person's surname, click yes if it's correct. Enter your telephone number, and then obviously click what's relevant to you. So for this section here, just pop in your postcode. As it says above, the Home Office may contact you via your postal address if they can't contact you by email. So just ensure this is your most up-to-date postal address, and if you do move at any time during the application process, then click this link here and you'll find out more details on how to update the Home Office. And once you click continue, you'll be guided to this page here where you'll have the opportunity to add in all your addresses for the last 5 years. So if you have moved within the last 5 years, make sure that you update this section here with all your previous addresses. So this is the next section here. So this is to provide details of where you want to have your citizenship ceremony. So for me, for example, I live in East London, but I wanted to do my ceremony near to work. So I had the option of choosing somewhere in North London. You've got the total freedom to choose wherever you want to in the country. Obviously, this is a personal event. If there's an area that you really enjoy and you can get there conveniently, it's up to you. You don't have to choose somewhere right next to your house, I believe, because I was free to choose another area in London that I really enjoy. So keep that in mind. Yeah, you've got all the options here. Choose to your free will. Again, in this section here, just complete your sex and relationship status as shown in your passport or travel document. So this is the next section here. So these are just details that you need to provide regarding your nationality, country, and date of birth. So these would be found in a birth certificate or your most up-to-date travel document, for example. But hopefully you know your own birth date. So this is the next section here. This is where you need to declare if you can provide a valid passport. So in my case, as a South African citizen, I had a passport, so I would have clicked yes. And then here, you just need to declare your passport number, the issuing authority, the issue date, and the expiry date. So similarly to the previous section here, this is where you can provide details about any identity cards that you have from your home country. So you can click yes if you have one, or click no if you don't have one, and continue. And similarly here, if you hold or have ever held any other nationality or citizenship, you'll have the opportunity to provide information down here. So you can click yes if you have, or no if you haven't. And this section here, if you have been granted indefinite leave to enter or remain in the UK, this is where you can enter your information about that. So if it is yes, then you can add in the date that you were granted indefinite leave to remain or enter, and you can declare whether your indefinite, not indefinitely, leave to enter or remain was granted under the EU settlement scheme. So in this section here, all you need to add is your national insurance number. And if you don't have one, you can click this here. But if you do, just add it in. If you can't find it, probably best to check on an old payslip or ask your payroll team at work if applicable. Here, just you need to check if you've passed a life in the UK test, and if you have, they'll ask for the code. In this section here, you need to provide details of any previous visa, entrance clearance, or leave to remain where you had to prove your knowledge of English. Say if you arrived on a student visa and had to prove your English proficiency, I'd probably gauge that you need to add something like that. But if ever in doubt, please do chat to an immigration advisor to support you in this section here, or refer to the guidance in the document we ran through a bit earlier. In this section here, you need to declare yes or no regarding whether you meet the knowledge of English requirement as part of the indefinite leave application made on or after 28th of October 2013. So as we made mention to the guidance document, you can use a Control F and type in English language, and it'll come up with the right page. So I believe that's page 19. That'll have a list of all the equivalent qualifications you can hold that would help you meet the requirement, as well as if you've got a UK degree certificate. And in this section here, if you have a UK degree certificate, you will not be required to show a formal speaking or listening qualification if you have a UK academic qualification, which is equivalent to a UK's bachelor or master's degree or PhD, which was taught in English. If you have a UK degree, you must provide your degree certificate. So if this applies to you, just make sure that you have that to hand. For my experience, I studied in the UK and I had my degree certificate, so that was the document that I uploaded. So as it says in this section here, do you have a degree taught in English? Yes. And then you can add in the details. Say if you studied in America or Australia or Canada, you can add those details here. For me, that would just be United Kingdom. And providing proof of your degree. Mine would have been a degree certificate, but it says here you can also provide an official transcript or letter. In this section here, you need to provide details of your parents. So this would be details of your mother or father, the given names, family name, date of birth, town of birth, country and nationality, and whether they have always had the same nationality. So I'd recommend having this information to hand in order to complete the next stages. But if you don't, you can complete other stages of your application and always come back to it. But in order to submit your application, these sections need to be completed. In this section here, you just need to declare if at any time you have ever had any of the following in the UK or another country in relation to convictions and other penalties. So here's a comprehensive list. Just tick whatever applies to you, and then you can continue to the next stage. But if nothing has applied to you, then you can click no, I've never had any of these. And likewise on this section here, you just need to declare if any of this applies to you. And again, in terms of the bankruptcy, just click yes or no if it applies to you. In this section here, if you have any dependents that aren't applying with you at this time, you can include them here. But if you don't, you just can click no. And likewise with the previous sections that we've just seen, in terms of war crimes, in either peace or wartime, have you ever been involved in or suspected of involvement in war crimes, crimes against humanity, or genocide? The types of acts that may constitute as a war crime are included down here. So if this does apply to you, just click yes. If it doesn't, click no. And likewise with the section, if you've ever been involved in, supported, or encouraged terrorist activities in any country, and here's a list of examples. If it does apply to you, click yes. If it doesn't, click no. And likewise, at this point here, it should be self-explanatory, but just click if it does apply. And if it doesn't, click no and continue. And to repeat myself again, click what applies, yes if it does, no if it doesn't, and continue. In terms of this section here, determining a person of good character, have a good read through the 3 questions here and declare yes if it does apply to you or no if it doesn't. And once you're happy with the answers that you've provided, then save and continue. Okay, so this is where we've come to a bit more of the interesting stuff in your online application. So as we alluded to right at the beginning, you will need 2 referees when completing your online application. So let's go to the guidance here and have a quick check about the requirements about what constitutes as an eligible referee. So for the referee section here, so your application must be endorsed by 2 referees. 1 referee can be of any nationality, but must be a professional person. So a professional person could include a minister of religion, a civil servant, or a member of a professional body such as an accountant or a solicitor, but not one who's representing you with the application. So for me, I had a friend who I've known for several years, and he's a member of an accounting professional body. So he was the person I reached out to be one of my referees. So for the other referee, this person must be the holder of a British citizen passport and either a professional person or over the age of 25. Each referee must have known you for at least 3 years, and each referee must not be related to you, related to the other referee, must not be your solicitor or an agent representing you in this application, and must not be employed by the Home Office. As they say here as well, we will not usually accept a referee, so this is the Home Office, who has been convicted of an imprisonable offence during the last 10 years. And as it says down here, checks may be carried out to ensure that referees do not have unspent convictions and are qualified to act for you, and that their signatures are genuine. It is a criminal offence to provide false information, knowingly or recklessly, punishable with up to 3 months imprisonment, or a fine not exceeding £5,000, or both under Section 46(1) of the British Nationality Act of 1981. So refer to the guidance, ensure that you're following suit, and back in your application stage here. So for the first referee, from what I can remember, my first referee was the British citizen requirement, or someone who was over the age of 25. So as it says here, give your referee's details below. This referee should normally be a British, Commonwealth, or Irish citizen who is either a professional person or over the age of 25. Pop in their details and we'll continue to the next stage. So the details will require the referee's title, name, surname, sex, date of birth, current address, and confirmation if they've lived at this address for 3 years. If they haven't, then you'll need details of where they lived before. Other additional information that you will need about the referee. So you'll need to add in their phone number, their email address, their profession, and confirmation regarding whether they have a British passport or not. And I think if you click yes, you'll need to have their passport number to hand. And here you need to declare how you know the referee and how does the referee know you. So you just need to declare your relationship with the person. So likewise with your second referee, you need to ensure this referee must be a person of any nationality who has a professional standing. So for my example, I have a friend who's an accountant, he's a member of a professional body, and I used his details for the application. But here, other examples can include someone who has a professional standing, which can be a minister of religion, a civil servant, teacher, nurse, pharmacist, bank official, or a member of a professional body, for example, an accountant or a solicitor, but not someone who's representing you with this application. They're not eligible to be a referee. But a list of professions or people who may be eligible will be in this list here, in this link. And again, it's the same information that you need to provide as you did for the first referee. So once you've finished adding in the details for your referee, this next section here, if you have made any previous UK immigration applications in the UK abroad, this includes applications for asylum in the UK, you need to declare yes or no. So again, my name's not name, surname, by the way, it's just keeping it discreet. So for yourself, you need to declare here whether you have been previously married or in a civil partnership. If you have, then click yes. If not, no. So say here, yes, no, easy peasy. In this section here, do you have any children whose birth parents is not your partner? So if it applies to you, click yes. If it doesn't, just click no and continue. And here you'll need to add in details of your employment. So if you are employed, click yes and continue. If not, click no. And here, this is where you will need to add your employment details. So details of your occupation, the type of employment, the employer or business name, the employer or business address, the employer or business town or city, and the postcode of the business or your employer, and your start date and a tax office reference number, which I understand to be the code that you would have on your, like a payslip, P11D, P60 form. Speak to your finance team, HR team, or your payroll team. they should be able to provide this for you. If not, check the guidance and see what else you add in. Within there, you should be able to find this on the payslip though. In this section here, so this is the arrival in the UK. So to meet the residence requirements, you must have been in the UK. So if you're on the 3-year route, for at least 3 years if you are the spouse or a civil partner of a British citizen. For the 5-year route, for at least 5 years if you are not the spouse or civil partner of a British citizen. And this is the key point here, you must have been in the UK on the first day of the 3 or 5 year qualifying period. So this is the required period time. If you're in doubt about what this means, I recommend go to the section absences from the UK, read through all this information here. So from this document here recorded on the 16th of December 2024, using the most up-to-date guidance that I can find in Guide AN, this should declare all the information you need to understand the qualifying period. But just in layman's terms, say if you applied today, so today's the 16th of December 2024, and you are on the 5-year qualifying route, you need to ensure that you were in the UK on the 16th of December, take away 5 years, so 2019. If you weren't, let's say if you arrived back into the UK on the 20th of December 2019, that's when your 5-year qualifying period would start, and that's when you should be able to apply for your citizenship, which would be the 20th of December 2024. Just ensure that you have spoken to an advisor if you are in doubt about this, but I would recommend read the guidance and ensure that your residence period is all clear before you continue with the application, and just ensure that it is 100% correct and you are eligible to apply on the dates that you do apply. So again, there's another section here. Just make sure that you read and cover and you understand. You must not have spent more than 270 days outside the UK in the 3-year period, if that applies to you, or 450 days outside the 5-year period. You must not have been outside the UK for more than 90 days in the last 12 months. You must not have been in the UK illegally in the 3 or 5 year qualifying period. So once you're happy with that, then enter the date in which you first arrived to the UK. So once you're happy with that, enter the date in which you first arrived to the UK and where did you first arrive to the UK, and click continue. Likewise with trips outside the UK, refer to the guidance if this doesn't make sense to you, or speak to an immigration advisor who can support with you on this aspect here. But it's pretty clear from what it says here. So if you've had any trips outside the UK, you'll need to report it. So the things that you don't need to tell the Home Office about are trips that are 2 days or less. For example, if you leave on the Monday and return on the Tuesday, this does not count as an absence. Again, in layman's terms, let's say if you're going away for a night and you leave the UK, assuming if you left on the Monday, you would have woken up in the UK on the Monday, left the country, then you slept over and returned back on the Tuesday, your presence in the UK would have been counted for both days. Therefore, it's not treated as an absence from the UK because you were in the UK on the Monday and the Tuesday, regardless if you left the country. Your presence still counted on those days. But if it's 3 days or more, there would have been an absence in between. Therefore, you would count the 3 days. So if you've got any history of traveling outside the UK or any trips, work trips, holidays, so forth, seeing family, just ensure that you have a full comprehensive list. For me, I used an Excel spreadsheet, monitored all the flight stamps that I had in my previous passports and created a list, ensured that the ones that were 2 days or less were not included. And I had my family members check over it just to ensure that I didn't miss anything. And I used a day calculator, and I used a formula in Excel to calculate the number of days, which is quite easy, to be fair. You take the most recent date, so the date you arrived, so you press equals, and then you click the date, ensure that it's in date format, then you click minus, and then you click the other cell, which has the date that you left, and you click +1. For standard counting principles in terms of dates, adding the +1 ensures that the date that you arrived or the date that you left is counted within that. So say if I left on Friday and came back here, so that would be 4 days. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. But if I took the dates from the 16th and I presume Friday would have been the 13th, it might just count 3. But if you add +1, then it adds the additional day. And then you can just check whether you fall within the remit of the day requirements as set out in the guidance. So once you're happy with that, include the details and you can continue to the next stage. So once you've finished adding in all your trips, The next stage here is just to answer whether you plan to make the UK your permanent home or your main home if your application is successful. So click what applies to you and then continue to the next stage. So again, this is the same thing with the residence requirements. I'm just going to read it through just so it's clear and comprehensive. If you are the husband, wife, or civil partner of a British citizen, you must have been in the UK for the last 3 years. If you're not the husband, wife, or civil partner of a British citizen, you must have been in the UK for the last 5 years. This is called your qualifying period. So for your qualifying period, you must have been in the UK on the first day of your 3 or 5 year qualifying period. That's what we explained before. You must not have spent more than 270 days outside the UK during the 3 year qualifying period, if that applies to you, or 450 days during the 5 year qualifying period, if that applies to you. You must not have been outside the UK for more than 90 days in the last 12 months. And again, you must not have been here illegally in a 3 or 5 year qualifying period. And again here, answer yes or no regarding whether these requirements apply to you or not. For this section here, so for special circumstances, are there any reasons why you cannot meet the requirements to become a British citizen? For example, have you taken too many absences from the UK? So that if that applies to you, just click yes. If it doesn't, click no and continue. For the next section here, if you do not meet the statutory requirements to become a British citizen, are there any special circumstances why you think the Home Secretary should not still grant your application? The statutory requirements can be found in booklet AN. So the form AN is here, and click whatever applies to you. And for other information, do you have any other details that you would like to be considered regarding this applicant and their application to be a British citizen? So for this section here, this is just if you have any other information that you would like to be considered during your application process. If you do, click yes. If not, just click no. And this section here, so just check your answers. It'll give you a comprehensive breakdown of all the questions we have to date. If you want to change something, you can. So you can just click here and it'll take you back to the section, and then you can continue the application. Say if you need information about one of your referees, there you can just give like a blank answer. For some of the questions they are required, so you can just press example NA, you can type that into the box and continue. Just make a note to check that over. And once you've finished reviewing all your answers, just ensure that everything's correct. I'd recommend that you have your referees review them as well, because part of the requirements for the referee is to ensure that to the best of their knowledge and your knowledge that everything is correct, as we saw in the referee guidance in the form. And if you've got a partner or family member who's happy to review your questions, just ensure that there's no errors in your application. I totally recommend it. Be as prudent as possible. Obviously, it's quite a lot of money. You don't want to make any mistakes. And if you've come this far in your journey, be it 3, 5, or 10 years, regardless of how long you spend, you want to ensure that it is as accurate as possible. So please do take your time to review the questions and review your answers as good as possible, just to ensure that you have the best application possible and to ensure that there's no delays. So once you're happy with that, you can press continue. And in this section here, you can add any additional applicants. But for me, in this circumstance, I'm not going to add anything. So I'm just going to keep that blank and click continue. Cool. This is the documents section here. From my experience when I applied, you are sent over to another platform after you pay and you make your declaration. So in this stage here, it's just highlighting the essential documents that you need. So these would be the documents I'd recommend you prepare and just make sure that are accessible. From the list of documents below, provide as many as you can. Tick each document to confirm that you have read the requirement, even if you cannot send it. If you are unsure about the evidence, read the guidance, which again is Form AN. And for me, in this circumstance, they require the passport issued by South Africa for name, surname, which is me. The next document that they need is the degree certificate for name, surname, to prove the level of English language provided. And in this section here, proof of living in the UK for Mr. Name, surname for 5 years if applying in your own right, or 3 years if applying as the spouse of a British citizen. So again, they'll add a little bit of detail here, read that applies to you. And in the next box here, you will need to provide 2 referee declarations for Mr. Name, surname, and I'll show you the form in a sec. So here's what the document looks like for the referee certificate. So you need to print out this form. Here, you will need a passport photo of yourself. So on the back of the applicant photograph, so the one of you, the referee needs to write the full name and date of birth of yourself. So ensure that they've got the correct information. And then the photograph should be glued into the space aside. So this space here, you see there's rules about what the photo needs to look like. So just refer to this link here if you're ever in doubt of what it should be. For me, I just used a standard ID photo that you can go to a booth in Tesco or your local train station and just use that. This part of the form is to be filled by the applicant's referee once their photograph has been attached, as explained above. Referee should read the applicable guide to confirm that they are eligible. Checks will be carried out to ensure that the referee meets the requirements below and their signatures are genuine, and the Home Office may contact them as part of their inquiries. So there we go, the name of the referee, and here's the other information that they need to refer to, just to ensure that they are eligible. And here's the referee declaration, ensure that they're comfortable with signing this here, and then they need to include their full name, signature, and the date. Recommend print out both copies back to back, ensure that the referee has this, and you ensure that you have enough time to upload everything. It's pretty straightforward. Ensure that you know who this is, and here's obviously what they need to be comfortable with. Once you are comfortable with everything, you can continue. And this is where you'll hit the declaration stage here and make your payment. And then any further actions will follow from there. So hopefully this all makes sense. I know from my experience, before I did this, I was very apprehensive and quite nervous. I think it's quite common for a lot of people who have spent quite a lot of money endeavoring in being an immigrant in a foreign country. There's a lot of ambiguity and there's not a lot of strong guidance based off personal experience. You can read a lot of guidance online and still feel confused. Hopefully this process doesn't alienate you from completing the application on your own, confidently and diligently. The purpose of this video is obviously to give just a simple breakdown on how to complete the form. It doesn't seek to provide answering questions that are specific to your own circumstances. I totally recommend speaking to an immigration advisor or legal professional to support you with that process there if you're ever in doubt. Do refer to the guidance as stated on the website. It will have most of your answers there, and if there's any doubt, please just speak to an immigration advisor. But in the meantime here, hopefully this information has been helpful to you and is giving you an expectation of what to expect when you complete the form on your own. And if you've enjoyed the video, I would really appreciate a thumbs up to let me know that you have enjoyed it and that you've found it useful. If you have any comments or any questions, please just drop them in the comment section below and I'll be more than happy to answer those for you where I'm capable to. And if you have any recommendations for future videos, or if you'd like to find out how my immigration route was in the UK, please let me know. I'm happy to do a video about that in the future. I've been in the UK for about 12 years. I arrived in the UK when I was 15, and I've been on a multitude of different visa routes, being a dependent, going on a student visa, getting my job after university, getting my first job with a sponsored tier 2 visa, and then getting indefinite leave to remain after 10 consecutive years. More than happy to share my experience and share some of my learnings as I've gone by, if you're interested in hearing that. But if not, that's okay too. And yeah, hopefully you have a nice end of your day and good luck for your future application, and I hope it goes well. Becoming a British citizen is a massive, massive achievement, and you should be really proud of yourself. Don't let this application delay things any longer. Hopefully you get it done soon, and hopefully it's not as complicated as it seems to be. So yeah, hopefully it's been helpful, and hopefully you have a great day as well. So chat to you soon and have a good one. Cheers.